Back out here at Eaton for the cheap seats on 96.3 WLCN. We've talked youth football with Steve Ferris for the better part of 15 minutes now. Now we're going to move to the high school side of football, and we're joined every Saturday morning, just like this morning, by Lincoln High School head football coach Jared Shaner. And Coach, not necessarily the way you would have wanted to end things last night when you took on Central State 8 opponent Springfield, playing host to them. Pretty good showing by the Railers in the first part of the game, leading 8-6 at that time. Had a safety in there that contributed to those extra points allowed. And from here, I'm going to turn it over to Josh Komnick.
Yeah, Coach. Coming up to the game, of course. Springfield, a 6A school, and they've been ranked. They still might be. I didn't catch that, but I know before they had lost to Griffin and Rochester that they were state ranked. So you knew coming in, definitely a tough opponent, and a quarterback coming back from last year that was exceptional last year, and not the least this year.
Sure. They're a good football team. I think they got up to like maybe sixth place in the polls in 6A. Their high school has 1,550 kids in it, and compare that to us, and that's quite the discrepancy there in kids, and I think part of that showed up on the field last night with their athleticism. Sure.
Yeah, Springfield improves to 5-2. Springfield wins 48-8. Springfield improves to 5-2. 5-2 in the Central State 8. Lincoln 2-5 and 1-5 in the Central State 8. And Coach, first part of the game, got to be pretty happy. Started out good. Like Cameron said, we get a safety there in the first quarter, and then we march it down. Lysinger puts together a good drive and capped off by a Fitzsimmons, I think it was about a 22, 26-yard run, and got to be feeling good really after the first quarter, maybe midway through the second, that you're right with Springfield.
Yeah, you know what? I thought our defense came out and played well at the beginning of the game and got some stops, backed them up and got a safety, and had some positive things going for us, and then, like it has a couple times this year, just little mistakes that compounded on us. I thought, with Sawyer Conrady going down and getting hurt, that took a little bit of the wind out of our sails, I think, and he was having a terrific game defensively for us, and then just that little break that you have to take and trying to get yourself regrouped, and after that, I really think. One of the big things there for a little while was just field position. They pinned us deep. They had a great kicker. So, I felt like, anytime we gave up a score, we were lucky to start at the 20-yard line and just couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, you're right, Coach. Talk real quick about that injury. Sawyer Conrady went down with a neck injury, and, had just probably you're saying I've read this morning and talked with you a little bit this morning about probably a precautionary.
Sure.
Yep. But what's the prognosis of what happened?
Well, Sawyer's doing fine. He came back last night after the game and talked to us real quick, and they did more precautionary than anything. They took him to the hospital, checked him out, and he just had a little pinched nerve in his neck. Kind of a stinger type thing, and I think everybody did the right thing by being cautious, and a situation like that, it's better to be safe than sorry. So,
yeah. Coach, taking a look at the Springfield side of the action, they were very athletic last night. Bolden, who is probably one of the best in the conference, 16 for 20, 295 yards, hooking up to the end zone 4 times, 4 touchdowns. He had 68 yards on the ground and touchdown rushing as well. One of those guys who is very versatile, very athletic. Obviously, the stats prove it right there with 4 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. That was obviously something that you were looking for in the film and previewing the games. I remember you had mentioned that last week, and Bolden is one of those athletes that is hard to stop. Do you feel, though, that your defense was able to stop them to the best of their ability?
On a few occasions, especially early in the game, and then a little bit in the second half. I think there was 1 or 2 series where I thought our defense did a good job. And with a kid like him, it's kind of pick your poison. Mm-hmm. If you want to blitz him and bring a lot of people at him, you really got to be careful, because he gets outside of you, or he makes a guy miss, and he's off to the races, and we don't have a kid that's going to catch him. And then on the other side of the coin, if you sit back and you just take your front 4 or however many you have, and you don't get a lot of pressure on him, he is an accurate quarterback, and he has three very solid receivers, and he'll pick you apart that way. So, I thought at times our kids did a pretty good job. We let him outside a couple times. He had, those 68 yards. I know we tackled him for losses on several times, but I think, let him outside one or two times, and that was the result.
Well, Coach, you talked about it in a guy. I remember last year of really putting on a bunch of rushing numbers, but not a lot of passing. It was a testament to him and his work in the offseason on how he became a lot more better of a quarterback,
Sure.
Being accurate. You talk about, like Cameron said, 295 yards rushing. Now, last year you might have saw that rushing instead of passing, and that has something. Did you see that coming in? Did you know that he had improved on his passing?
Yeah, he had been much more accurate this year, and I think much less likely to take off when things kind of broke down around him. Mm-hmm. He's a little more patient. And I think, again, like you said, that just comes with being a better quarterback and having confidence in, the 3 or 4 good receivers that he has.
Yeah, sure, and probably some school after high school is going to take a chance on a kid like that with the ability to call. You talked about the receivers. Just one of them was Alex Kramer, 5 touchdowns for 138 yards and 1 touchdown for the Senators. Leisinger was 4 for 12 for 94 yards. Darvez Stansel caught 2 catches for 74 yards, and of course that big score, 22-yard run by Fitzsimmons. So, Coach, not exactly where you're wanted to be at this point in the season. 2-5, 1-5 in the Central State 8, and the things you've got to look forward to coming up here in the next couple games.
Well, just looking ahead to the next week, I was talking to Mr. Knox this morning, our athletic director, and I think a positive. Taylorville's sitting right where we are. That's who we have this coming week. Their kids always play extremely hard. They're a good football program. 2-5 this year. It should be a good game. I think, athletically we match up a little bit better against the Taylorville than a Springfield or a Chatham, teams like that. So should be a good game. And we kind of challenged the kids last night. No matter what, there's 2 more weeks left in the season.
Right.
And you can put into it what you want, and you can get out of it what you want. But it's got to be the kids' choice, and the coaches will continue to go out there and work hard every day and make sure they're prepared. And I think that the kids will do the same.
Yeah, I talked about the Central State last night. Rochester improves to 7-0. I think they just took over the number 1 spot in was it 5A?
Correct.
5A, they are number 1 in the...
4A.
Sorry, yes, 4A. They're number 1 in the state of Illinois. They beat Lanphier 42-7. Breeze Mater Dei comes to Taylorville.
Yep.
And blasts Taylorville 48-3. Of course, Lincoln loses to Springfield 48-8. So quite a few Central State 8 games today.
Yep.
And Taylorville coming off a bad loss, Lincoln coming off a bad loss. Like you said, Coach, a good game next week, and hopefully the Railers can come out on top.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, Coach, we thank you for joining us, just as you do every Saturday morning.
Thanks for having me.
Lincoln head coach Jared Shaner, and Coach, best of luck to you and the Railers as you make the trip to Taylorville, and hopefully you will put the wind out of the Tornadoes next week.
That's right. Hey,
Thank you.
nice one, Cameron.
Hey, yeah, it was pretty good. There you go. Josh, we've got a little bit of a local notes to touch upon before we leave. We've got the Lincoln High School golf. Boys golf have their sectional today, so best of luck to them. I believe that golf sectional is going to be played at the Kellogg Golf Course in Peoria. That started at 9 o'clock today. We also have girls tennis. They're at the Central State 8 Conference Tournament down at Washington Park in Springfield today. And girls tennis off to a pretty good start last night. I know my sister came home, and she won her matches last night, as did a couple other girls. And so best of luck to the tennis team. We've got girls swimming and diving. They're at the Charleston Quad Meet at 1 o'clock today over in Charleston, being held at Eastern Illinois University. And boys soccer, Coach Stuckey and his soccer team go to Jacksonville for a tournament today. So best of luck to all Railer sports going on today. Railer Volleyball has the weekend off as far as I know. And so Josh, that's a look at it for sports for this week. Interesting week of sports that we've had, and a more interesting week that's coming up. We've had a lot of stuff to talk about. Actually, we've got a couple more things that we could talk about, don't have time for today. And we've got stories that we can touch upon even a little bit more. Unfortunately, don't have time for it today. Still never did get an answer for that trivia question. So here it is. The question was, since its introduction in 1981, which National League team has appeared in Major League Baseball's NLDS, so the National League Division Series, the most often? It was a tie between 2 teams. The Atlanta Braves and the Houston Astros, both teams have appeared in the National League Division Series 5 times since 1981. The Cardinals, which would have been a lot of people's guess, 4 times.
Yep.
So that was a tie. That was the answer to that question. So, Josh, next week we're going to be at Jake's Furnishings. So Jake is always glad to host us. That's where we're going to be next week. And October 30th, we're going to be out at the Christian Village.
Sure.
So make sure you stay tuned, you listen to us. Thank all of our sponsors. We appreciate all of our sponsors. Hey, and if you aren't able to catch us on air, on radio every week, head on over to the website, WLCNonline.com, and make sure you check that out.
Yeah, and something going on at Lincoln College tonight, the Harlem Ambassadors, and I will be taking the court for what they've named as the Lincoln All-Stars. I'm not sure where I was associated with that name, but I will be on that. Lincoln College is going to be playing, a number of people from this area going to be playing on this Lincoln quote-unquote all-star team. So a lot of fun for us, a lot of fun for the fans. So come on out, support Lincoln College, and should be a family fun night at Jack Nutt Arena.
Alrighty, head on out to Lincoln College. For my broadcast partner, Mr. Josh Komnick, and for everyone here at WLCN, this is Cameron Kurtz thanking you for listening to The Cheap Seats. We'll be out at Jake's Furnishings next week. Until next time, we'll see you down the road.